Good morning. I'm really excited to be here at OIS AAO 2019 in lovely San Francisco, here in downtown. Super excited to have Chris Brittain with us here from Genentech. How you doing, Chris?
Great. No, likewise, excited to be here. It's been a great morning.
Yeah, it's the same here. So tell us a little bit about your background. I know we talked about you're from UK and I lived in Southampton. Tell us, where are you from and what are you up to?
So I'm an ophthalmologist by training, trained in the UK and practiced as an ophthalmologist, not for as long as most people, but for about 4 years. And then I had a career change. I worked for a couple of years in the UK regulator, the MHRA, which is the equivalent of the US FDA.
Gotcha.
And then I had my second career change, which is when I moved to industry and worked on Lucentis with Novartis and Alcon, worked on Jutria. So I was at that company for about 5 years. And that's when I made my step towards Roche, which is the large company which is the holding company for Genentech. And I moved over to Basel with the family and worked on lampalizumab in their phase 3 products.
Very good. For those of you who know, Roche is still privately held, correct? One family?
It's a public company.
Is it public now?
Public
okay.
company.
Okay. My grandfather used to work at Roche, so
Oh wow.
we know a little bit about the company. Tell us about the developments right now. What is exciting for you that coming down the pipeline? What do you want our viewers and audience to know about what you're up to? Some exciting stuff coming up.
So very exciting stuff. So number one is really, we've got a super exciting phase 3 portfolio. So we've got 2 products in phase 3, faricimab and the port delivery system, with ranibizumab, which we call we abbreviate to the PDS. So looking at faricimab first, this is in 2 indications in phase 3 currently, in diabetic macular edema and neovascular AMD. And it was exciting. Just 2 weeks ago, we had our last patient in for the diabetic macular edema program, which is the Yosemite and Rhine studies. So we'll be looking to get data out late next year, early the year after. That study recruited, 6 months or so earlier than we'd expected. So there's a lot of excitement in the community for that product.
So tell us about that a little bit. Why do you think you were a fast enroller? What makes it the nature of what makes it a fast enroller versus your other experiences of slow enroller?
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. So faricimab, I think first and foremost, it's got to have something innovative and something good for patients. So what we saw, we did a strong phase 2 program, three phase 2 studies. In diabetic macular edema, we had the Boulevard study, and that demonstrated superiority in terms of there was a 3-letter gain of patients who were treatment naive over standard of care. And so potential for superiority in terms of efficacy outcomes. And then when we look at neovascular AMD, which is the second set of studies which are ongoing, we saw potential for up to 65% of patients could go as long as Q16 weeks. So we have both an efficacy and a durability play for faricimab.
Still very challenging for us, as you know, being an ophthalmologist, dealing with DME. One of the biggest issues is just quality of life and loss of basically work hours. So I was excited to see how this data transpires. That's great.
Yeah.
So tell us some of the difficulties and challenges you came up with when you were going through that, and what do you, as you're looking to your 2020 and beyond, what do you think some things you're excited about?
So outside of faricimab, obviously, we have the port delivery system, which is another very exciting program. So up until middle of this year, this has been a US-only program, but we've acquired the rights from Novartis to develop and commercialize the port delivery system globally now. So the team this is a big challenge, but a massive opportunity to bring that to patients in the future as well. So that's one of the large pieces of work which we're working on at the moment. In terms of the actual port delivery system, we completely enrolled our phase 3 study, the Archway study, which completely enrolled in June of this year. So we'll be looking to get data out of that in the middle of next year. And that's exciting again because patients are going to be going out to 6 monthly refills for that. And that recruited, as I say, 6 months early. So it's another demonstration of the benefit to patients, really, and the excitement of our investigators and the great work by them.
That's huge. So the port system is different because you can actually just have a longer duration. Is that understanding? Explain how that works a little bit for people who are not familiar with it.
Okay, sure. So the port delivery system is a small implant about the size of a grain of rice, which is implanted under the conjunctiva on the superior aspect of the eye. So patients can't see it, doesn't interfere with their field of view. Their friends and colleagues can't see it because it sits underneath the eyelid. The procedure takes a little bit longer than a cataract, so it's not as simple as a cataract, but it takes in that ballpark figure of time. And
done in the clinic or under sedation?
Done in a similar manner to cataract surgery.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so conscious sedation.
Operating theatre.
Okay.
Yeah. And then refilled every 6 months. And the phase 3 study is based on the phase 2 ladder study, which demonstrated, as many of you will have seen, that the average time to refill of the device was 15 months, and over 80% of patients went 6 months or longer before they had a refill.
That's exciting because, as you know, treating patients with current modalities is very challenging. Every month, every 6 weeks, coming in a needle in their eye. It's I think something tells me we're going to look back in these years and be like the barbaric years that we used to have, right? So that's terrific. So as you're moving forward, what are some things that you want the viewers to know as far as what you outlook, and what are you excited about?
So I think in terms of the phase 3 program, I think that's going really, really well. So I think in terms of accelerating this, getting it to patients as quickly as possible. So we've got a really large and incredible team working at Genentech and Roche. Over 1,000 people at our company work in ophthalmology. So we've got a really strong base with which to work, which gives us a great opportunity to kind of develop our pipeline. And one of the reasons we're so excited about OIS is because we want to really continue talking to early stage companies so we can continue to build our own pipeline, not just develop new products internally, but really partner with some of the exciting earlier companies with phase 2 assets.
You took my question right out. So you're internally doing business development, BD,
Yep.
but you're also looking to acquire some of the other companies. So one of the value adds of OIS for you as a strategic is to do that. Are you?
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. So I think what we see in the market currently is there are a few phase 3 assets. I mean, Apellis is a good example in patients with geographic atrophy, massive unmet need, really important product. But what we're also focusing is on what's next after we've launched faricimab and port delivery system, to make sure that we can continue to bring new innovations to patients in areas of unmet need.
So, and to just kind of summarize, so if you're a young entrepreneur, ophthalmologist, take me through 2 questions. One is, you're an ophthalmologist sitting in the lane seeing patients, 4 years in. What was that like? What was that aha moment? Was it just kind of like, I'm done with this? Or was it more, where I'm really going to move in a different direction? Take us through that, and also tell us through innovation. What is life like being in an industry versus in the lanes? Because I think part of the purposes of OIS, in my opinion, is not only marry all the innovation, but all the strategics, but also the people involved. So the people involved in doing the great work you're doing. So take us through that. I'm really curious.
Yeah. So I think my story is probably a slightly atypical story. So in the UK, they changed the way that trainees were being trained in about late 2000s. So therefore I would have had to move away from my wife for 5 days a week to be trained as an ophthalmologist. So therefore we took kind of a work-life balance decision, and I changed career and took a sideways step to the regulator.
We call that happy wife, happy life.
Happy wife, happy life. So and
here in the US,
yeah.
Right? Globally,
That's right.
Actually, that's true.
That's right. So I think my advice
Good
is
for you.
My advice, and that's you can either take that with a down heart and just feel depressed and gloomy, or you can take it positively. So
Sure.
So if there's one thing I'd say to people who are interested in working in industry, you'll get hiccups put in your way, and I think there's always an upside, and I think I've never really looked back, so I have absolutely no regrets, and it's been a super exciting career.
That's terrific. Sure. Anything you want to say to our viewers with what are you excited about seeing in OIS? Are you looking at anything particular that you want to share?
Yeah, so I think our main interests currently, obviously Genentech today is a US-only retina company.
Yeah.
In the next 2 to 3 years, we hope to be a global retina company. And then in the longer term, we look to be a global ophthalmology company.
So full spectrum.
So full spectrum.
Excellent.
So today, we're really excited about companies like Kodiak, grey bug, really extending the durability of some of the treatment options for patients. And then down the line, we're really excited about opportunities for gene therapy, looking at monogenic conditions to start with, and then broadening potentially out like Adverum, for example, and Regenex Bio in terms of utilizing gene therapy for a broader treater and patient base.
Great. I think it's pretty robust. So I look forward to seeing you again and wish you all the best luck. And thank you for having us.
Thank you very much for inviting me along.
Pleasure.